And now let's take a step back into the 1970s as we take a look at the third Doctor, as played by Jon Pertwee. Now, this figure, like the first two figures, you would expect to be based off the three Doctors. However, this isn't the case. Instead, this figure is based on the third Doctor's appearance from the following story, Carnival of Monsters. And I must say, I do like the outfit he wears in that story, so I think it's a very excellent choice that they released this in this set. Hopefully we'll be getting the red velvety version soon, as it's still not being released even to this day. I mean, the sculpting underneath is the same, like with the jacket, painted green, very nice. And the likeness to Jon Pertwee, like Bill and Pat, are excellent. However, I feel on this figure, the eyes, there's something about the eyes. I think they're painted a bit too blue on this figure. I mean, if you just look on the camera now, it looks a bit like he doesn't have any eyes. I mean, from an angle, he does, but from another angle, he doesn't. From that angle, he looks okay, but from this angle, he doesn't. So, that's my only criticism, really, about this figure. The eyes, it seems a bit weird. Like, his eyes just seem a bit weird. But apart from that, I think the likeness is excellent. I think the likeness to Jon Pertwee is still bang on. I think it's absolutely remarkable. The hair is painted white. I think it's a lot more whiter than the Death to the Daleks version. I'm not really bothered about that, really, because I think the hair sculpt is excellent anyway. It's absolutely brilliant. And like I said, the jacket is the same sculpt as previous Jon Pertwee figures, such as the Sea Devils one. And I can't do a comparison, bearing in mind, because I haven't actually got the Sea Devils version. But I've got the Death to the Daleks version, and I can see the similarities. It's the exact same sculpt, creases and everything, but it's just painted green. And the tie is painted in a dark brown colour, along with the shirt underneath. The collar is painted in a turquoise colour. It looks a bit more blue in real life, and it got buttons, and I think you can see a little bit of the frills coming out from underneath the jacket, the lapels of the jacket. The buttons on the jacket are painted in, I think it's a dark brown colour. It looks black on camera, but I'm pretty sure it's a dark brown. But as for the cloak is removable, like the Sea Devils version. The cloak is very nice. However, I won't be removing it in this video, as I feel it will take up a lot of time, and it'll take up a lot of time because taking it off takes a while, and putting it back on is a little bit of a pain in the backside. But it is removable, and you can put it on and off, so you can display the figure without the cloak if you wish. I'll just give you an idea of what it looks like underneath. So if I just kept on pulling now, it would come off. Inside the cloak is painted in a sort of dark orange colour, makes it look a bit more red. And on the outside it's painted brown. You've got all these little creases here, which I think is really cool. You've got these patterns, which I think are painted a little bit of a darker brown. Yeah, there's a bit of paint going over it, but I'm not really that bothered. It's still an excellent figure. I really like it. And the collar area has got I think it's a darker shade of brown here as well. And at the back, there's more brown here. There's a lot more creases, and the cloak separates here. The cloak is made out of PVC, just so I'll let you know, and these bits here are painted the same as the inside of the cloak. And the cufflinks here painted same colour as his shirt. It's really good. He's got the ring on his hand, and he carries his sonic screwdriver, which is an accessory. And this sonic screwdriver also has a swirl effect, which is really weird because the walking stick does, the recorder does, and this sonic screwdriver does. There'll be no more swirling effects in this set, just to let you know. But again, the sonic screwdriver seems to be a little bit loose, a little bit like the Death to the Daleks version, which I find a little bit odd. And as for the trousers and the boots, I think they are just the exact same as the Death to the Daleks version. So, an excellent representation of the Third Doctor. A bit odd that we didn't get the Three Doctors version, seeing as we got the Three Doctors version of the First Doctor and Second Doctor, but I can live with it as long as we get a release of the Three Doctors, Third Doctor one day. And as for the articulation, it is the same. Again, it's a little bit stiff, but I think you can move it a bit more on this figure. And the arms can do 360 and whatnot, but you just have to remove the cloak to do so, because the cloak hinders it. Moving on to the next figure in this set, which is the Fourth Doctor, as played by Tom Baker, in his outfit, a scene from The Seas of Doom and other stories around that period. We're talking about 1976 here. I think he wore it in The Brain of Morbius as well. I think this figure is really good. If you feel the figure, it's got like that tweedish effect, a little bit like the Matt Smith action figure, and I think it's really cool that we've got that. Basically, it's what you're getting here is the Pyramids of Mars Tom Baker figure, but it's just painted in a grey colour, and they've altered it slightly so it feels like actual material, but everything on the cloak is exactly the same. The scarf is the same as the season 12 version, which I'm not sure is supposed to be right, but I can kind of see why they used it. And he's wearing his fedora and got the little bow here, and it's just painted in a green colour. And if you just have a look at the head, again, it looks a tiny little bit weird, especially around the lips, the purple, but I can kind of live with it. I think it's a really good likeness, bearing in mind this is the first time we got a solemn-headed Fourth Doctor with a hat on, as before we only got a smiley face one with the hat on, and the only solemn versions that were released prior to this figure were hatless. And I think the hair sculpted very nicely underneath the hat as well, sideburns as well, and it does look like Tom Baker. Not the best likeness to Tom Baker, but I think it's still a really good figure. You know it's meant to be him. I mean, it's not terrible. Not knocking the figure. I think it's still good. And before I carry on, the head is not removable, so don't try moving it. In fact, no, ignore that. The head is removable, so you can change heads like with other figures. But I think the re-release of this in the Seeds of Doom set, I believe might be plugged on. And just take a look here at the collar here. We've got it painted black, which is correct. That's how it was in the story. And got the buttons, and you can see on the camera now like all the amount of detail that's gone into the jacket. It's really cool. The shirt underneath here is exactly the same, as is the cravat, although I think but the cravat tie, I think it is a different shade to the Pyramids of Mars version, but it's very similar, so I just thought I'd let you know that. And The wrists here at the cuffs are painted black, and it's got patches at the back as well. So it's a bit like the Matt Smith figure, because if we do like some sort of comparison, you can see he's got patches on the back of his arms on the tweed jacket as well, which is correct because that's how this costume looked in the story. You got the pockets here and 2 buttons at the back, and you've got all the little creases here as well. I think it's really good, and you've even got that in the middle as well, makes it look like it's been designed, which obviously it was because it was real life, and it looks kind of lifelike. I really do like this figure. He also comes with his sonic screwdriver, which is something we have all come to expect now with Tom Baker figures, as he did use the sonic screwdriver quite a lot. However, he didn't use it every single story like Matt Smith.